A dark cloud hovers over Makerere University, Uganda's oldest institution of higher learning, for its sexual assault cases committed by students and lecturers. This student's story is a classic example of the deplorable situation.
Right from the start, when I joined, the people in the second and third year, they tell you, that this is a sexual harassment institute, like everyone knows, and even if you report anywhere, nothing is going to happen.
We shall call her Dorcas to protect her identity. She's a recent graduate and former student leader at the university. Dorcas's ordeal started in her third year, as she explains.
In my third year, when it actually happened to me, it happened to me. It happened to many friends of mine. It had happened to many people at the same faculty, and oh God, that's when I started battling with my own case.
On one fateful afternoon, Dorcas was accused of being part of an examination malpractice ring and was ordered to meet her supervisor, who it later turned out had no intention of reprimanding her.
I told him that I wasn't cheating and everything. He told me that I'm going to leave the university, I'm a very stupid leader, how could I cheat and stuff like that. I told him I didn't cheat. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm trying to explain to you that I didn't cheat. And he was like, no, there's nothing I can really do for you. Just leave. I was like, it's okay. I'll go to the dean and explain. So I left. As I was leaving, he's like, come back. Like, actually, he ordered me to come back. He yelled at me. He's like, are you stupid? Are you not a girl? Don't you know how to finish your problem?
And things took a turn for the worst.
Now we started struggling. He kept gripping my body. I kept pushing him. He kept using mob energy. So I told him, sir, please, we don't have to do this. He said, no. What is wrong with it? You're a woman, I'm a man. It's going to just end. And if it's nice, you'll keep doing it until you leave the university. He told me how he can even help me change my marks to become higher and get even higher grades and all that. During that whole time, we were trying to fight and fight. So he got so angry, he took off his clothes and started pushing my head towards his penis. He was telling me, give me a blowjob. I was telling him, sir, I can't. Like, I started crying. He told me, you will. He started now trying to fix his fingers in my vagina. I kept telling him, sir, please don't. I was so scared. I started shouting. I didn't care whether I would live or anything. But all I was caring about was my safety. So I started shouting and he kept holding my mouth. I was so scared. He was like, okay, you calm down, calm down, don't shout. I don't want people to come here and know what's going on.
After screaming and drawing attention of passers-by, the lecturer, she alleges, opted to drop her at her hostel in return for her silence. But then, the harassment continued.
He drove me to hostel. I was staying at Olympia. So we drove. Now, before you reach Olympia, there is Maram Road. We were in the Maram. He stopped. You could see the hostel. He's like, now before you go, he give me a blowjob, at least. And I told him, you know what, sir? I can't give you a blowjob. And I told him, but I can give you a hand job. I think I'm very good at a hand job. So he accepted. He forced my hand on his dick and made me, like, he forced me to make him come. He came on my hands. He told me to clean them on his shirt. I got out. Of course, I was feeling so disgusted with myself by then, and I was crying.
Doris reported her case to the university management.
I complained to the Senate, but they wrote to me and told me that they would work on it, that they had set up a committee to find out if really there was anything. So I waited, then I found some other students, different students that had complained about the same guy, but some of them it was different lecturers. But there was a big file of about 150 statements about sexual harassment.
But even from as far back as 2004, Cases like hers still happened. Take the story of this student, who we shall call Bridget, for example.
He began saying, telling me conversations I didn't understand. Then he came closer to me. Then he removed my blouse and began masturbating from my breasts. Okay, I think even I was still a virgin. I just didn't understand what was going on. So I was still in the stupor. I don't know what happened. I didn't understand what he was doing. I began shouting, banging the doors, banging the windows, screaming, they're going to rob me, they're going to rob me, they're going to rob me. It was, at that time it was like 7. It was just beginning to be dark. And I shouted, I fought, I shouted, I screamed, I jumped. I also wanted to jump through the window. But there was like 2 guys. So they couldn't let me. I saw him call some of his Kenyan friends. They were so rowdy, so loud. And then they came, like 3 of them. So the time when I began to understand what exactly was going on is when those friends of his began like scampering on me. And that's when I realized that I have been called to this room to be raped.
Following various complaints in previous years and seeking to put an end to the sexual harassment in the 40,000 student and 3,000 teaching staff population, Makerere drafted this policy.
Sexual harassment is prohibited for both on-campus and off-campus university settings between and among students, academic staff, administrative staff, support staff, students and staff members of various categories.
Despite the policy, the sexual harassment cases continue to happen. Some go unreported. Anna Deke is a former guild president at the university. She has reservation about the institution's fight against harassment.
The university's response to sexual violence has not been forthcoming in the positive way. I think that as an institution of higher learning, it should behold at least principles of protection of people's dignity, especially women and girls, and be able to always at least issue public statements and commitments towards curbing sexual violence, but that's not been the case.
Police are also calling on the university to ask for help.
See, when we go to universities, sometimes we don't speak the language that they hear. They are young, they are bubbling, they think they know it all, and when they get these challenges, they don't know exactly what to do. And the community around them will blame them.
Sexual harassment cases are among the most reported crimes in Uganda. Many people consider institutions like Makerere as areas where a solution can be found. Raymond Mujini, NTV.